Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing you a project recipe today for a vintage collection called Spring Medley. So this collection came out back in 2020, so it's been a while ago. You might have it in your stash. It's definitely not available on the website anymore. This project recipe, I'm going to we had two collections that were very, very close and very similar. One was called Spring Medley. It came out first. The other was called Spring Cottage, and it came out, I think, the following year. At any rate, they are really close to the same theme because the theme is spring, of course. And I have more of my Spring Cottage collection, so I'm going to use that and create the Spring Medley layout. I hope that's not too confusing. Let's see how it goes. And I've got it all ready for you on my work table, so let's go ahead and see what I've got. Okay, so this is my workspace for this particular layout, and I just wanted to show you, this is what I have left from the Spring Medley collection. So just a few pieces of paper and a few stickers left on my sticker sheet. So it was a favorite, I guess you could say. It has some really beautiful pieces of designer paper in it and a really great theme. This is not the right sticker pack though. Sticker on the back. But anyway, so you can see I'm not able to use this for this layout, but we are going to do the Spring Medley project recipe for you, because as you know, you can use any project recipe with any collection, and it creates a totally different feel, totally different layout for you, which is awesome. This layout does use the Spring Leaf Chain Border Maker Punch, so if you have that, go ahead and get that out. Or if you have another chain border maker punch you'd rather use, or because you don't have this one, go ahead and get out your favorite chain border maker punch, and you can use that, and it will be another way of making this design your own. Other than this particular border maker punch or a chain border maker punch, everything else about this layout is just a straight cut or an embellishment. So this is a perfect way to introduce someone to the border maker system. And if they're a novice or just getting into this craft, this would be a great layout. Very straightforward, very easy, pretty simple to assemble. It should be a quick and easy one. These are just some mats and some stickers and embellishments that came along with my Spring Cottage collection, which I did still have available. So I pulled these out just in case we might want to use them. We'll consult those later. My base sheets are going to be these kind of ash blue leaf tone-on-tone pages. The back side is a little bit darker, but I think I'm gonna like the lighter bit for the page, because our darker accents, I think, will jump off a little bit more using the lighter paper. Okay, so these are gonna be our base pages. Going to set those aside just for the time being, and we'll get back to those eventually. Really, it's just these two pages that we're going to be cutting. This beautiful floral page that has the ferns and the tulips and other really pretty daisies and things. And then this blue page that has kind of a variegated wave and wood on the back side. Okay, and these are from the Spring Cottage collection, these papers. So if you have that collection, then you might be able to go ahead and reproduce exactly what we're making today. If you don't, then just choose your favorite collection and work along with me, okay? So we have two papers we're going to use. I'm going to use the designer floral piece to be my green designer paper, and the blue is going to be the blue. So that should be pretty easy to remember, okay? And the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to grab my trimmer, and we're going to get to trimming some of these pieces so that we can get started, okay? So we're going to start with the floral. And I'm going to first cut two pieces that are 2 inches by 12 inches. Okay, I have to use the left-hand side of my trimmer to measure 2 inches. And I'm going to just measure 2 and cut, and then measure 2 more, and then cut. So those pieces are going to be our pieces that go across the bottom. And then we're going to cut 2 pieces that are 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to slide the bulk of my paper back to the left so that I can use this shoulder to keep my paper straight. I'm going to bring my paper up right to the beginning of the grid on the right hand side, because that is my 1/2 inch mark. That's the easiest 1/2 inch mark that I have. So we're going to cut 1/2 inch. We're going to cut another one at 1/2 inch. Why is that not looking right? There we go. Okay, another one at 1/2 inch. Then we should have 6.5 inches left. So let me just move my arm out so I can confirm. I have 7 inches. So we can cut another 1/2 inch off so that we have 6.5 inches. And this is going to just be an extra piece. So we'll set that aside. Then we're going to go ahead and turn this piece horizontally like this. And we're going to cut it at 4.5 inches. That's going to be a mat for a photo, so I'm going to just set it right up there. Then we're going to cut another one at 4.5 inches to make an additional mat. Setting it up there too. And then the remaining piece, we're going to turn again so that it's long ways, and we're going to cut it at 3.25 inches. So then what we should end up is with 2 pieces that are 3.25 by 3 inches. So not totally square, but almost, all right? And those are also mats that are gonna go right up there. Then we're going to grab our blue paper, and we're going to punch a couple of pieces. So I'm just going to set all the pieces I've already cut right over there. Don't put your trimmer too far away. We're going to use it in just a minute, but we're going to go ahead and punch 4 borders first. All right, and so this is kind of where you need to make a decision. Do you want to have kind of a striped pattern on your border when you complete it, or do you want to have more of a wave? You won't really see it as well once it's punched, but it may affect the other pieces we're going to cut, which are going to be more mats, and the mats are going to be long ways, so they could potentially be turned. Looks like they're vertical, so you need to decide, do you want your vertical mats to be going this way or going this way as far as the pattern goes on there. I think I want my vertical mats to have the pattern flowing through them like this. So I'm going to want to cut or to punch my border against the wave, so to speak. And then I will be able to cut my mats the way I want, because I'm not really going to be able to see it in the border once it's punched. We're using the edge of this border to decorate the border we're going to create. So you won't see all of this pattern once we put it all together. You're only going to see the edge of it. Okay. So If you have not used the Border Maker before, let me just run through that with you real quick. This is a guide that flips up and stays in position. This arm has a magnet that goes all the way through it. It holds your paper steady. So you feed your 12 by 12 piece of paper in all the way to the shoulder of the guide that's on the right hand side. Then you flip the guide back and get it out of the way. Then you utilize the teeth that are on the front of the Border Maker cartridge, which fit into these corresponding slots on the back. And you also utilize this little notch that's right here on the front of the Border Maker, which is very hard to see. There, that I guess you can kind of see a little bit better, but it's just a little bit of a bump right there, a little notch that corresponds to the notches that are right here on the holder, okay? And that just helps you guide your punch housing into the right spot. If it's in the right spot, you know it because you can't easily move this from right to left or forward or backward. And then you just simply move the punch housing along to each spot and punch, and you have these really cool borders. I'm a huge fan of the Border Maker system that Creative Memories has. And if you have it and you're not utilizing it, then you need to utilize it more because it is a great, great tool. Okay, so I'm gonna punch 2 more and I'll probably just speed this up on the video because you don't need to watch me do this in real time. Okay, so we are done punching our 4 borders, which means we're done with the Border Maker. So I'm gonna just scoot that to the side. But we do need our trimmer one more time because we are going to cut we're gonna cut these 4 mats right here. So each of them are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So we're going to cut this long piece at 3 3/4. Essentially it cuts it in half, but not exactly. This one is going to need to be trimmed just a tiny bit. So 3 3/4. And we've got about an extra 1/8 of an inch to trim off there. Okay. Then we're going to stack these 2. And we're going to cut them at 5 3/4, which I'm going to need my arm for because I have a little tab thing up here that for my 6-inch mark. I do not have 5 3/4 marked on that, which I probably should do. That would make it 5 3/4, something I would not need my arm for. But I haven't done it yet, so we'll just measure with the arm today. All right, so these 2 little pieces are extra. We'll just set them aside and they may end up just getting tossed. We'll see what happens. But for now, those are the only pieces that we need to complete this layout. So I'm gonna put my trimmer away and grab my base pages. But let's do some basic assembly first, all right? So we're gonna take our large 2-inch by 12-inch pieces, okay? And the way that the project recipe is written, you can either flip over this 1/2-inch strip or you can flip over your 2-inch strip. So I can create it like this, or I can create it like this. But both sides need to match, so I just need to decide which one I like best. All right, and I like this one best because I really like the floral and I want to see more of the floral than of the yellow. So I'm gonna make them both look like this one up here and have it be the floral with the yellow across the bottom. Okay, let me change this so you can see the actual project recipe. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to take some, you can use permanent or you can use repositionable adhesive. Just for the sake of speed, I use repositionable adhesive. That way, if I need to adjust it, I can. And for the sake of the video, I don't have to be as precise, to be completely honest. So I'm going to put this about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom, all the way across. It really is not as important how high you put this strip as it is that you are consistent, that both of them are the same. So go with what looks right to you and make both sides look the same. And try not to make it crooked, which sometimes is easier said than done, right? There we go. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take each of these blue pieces and we're going to adhere them to the back edges of this piece. So I'm going to take my repositionable adhesive and I'm going to put it almost all the way down, a few breaks in between, but almost all the way down. I'm going to flip it so that I can see the blue, or I can see the back side, and I'm going to make it as straight as I can, but make it so that I can only see through the one oval that's on the top. So the dot in this is on the yellow, and I can only see through the oval on top. Okay, and that gives us a little bit of a ruffle on the edge of the border. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to go with the same theory, okay? So the oval, it's not exactly an oval, but it's almost an oval. It's kind of pointed on the ends. On the top, I can see through, but not the one on the bottom. Okay? Just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing for this one. All right, so there's our second border. Okay, so I'm going to lay out these two base sheets. And we're going to adhere our borders, not all the way to the bottom, a little bit of space, probably about 1/2 inch from the bottom of our base sheet. Okay, so I'm just gonna add some permanent adhesive to the back. Although you may feel like there's, some repositionable adhesive that you can feel is still there, which is great, but I don't trust it to hold the whole thing because it's just barely holding through the holes on the blue on the other side. So I always add a little bit more adhesive. And when you place this second one I always try, well, pretty much always try and go ahead and match my papers up. Put the edges of my papers together, just like that. And then that way I can put my border right where it should be so that it matches and is the same on both sides of my layout. Like that. Okay, so we've got that completed. Let's go ahead and lay our mats where they're going to be. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to flip our floral over to the yellow, and the mats are going to become rather than using the floral as a mat, we're going to use the yellow as a mat. Okay, and it's going to go approximately right there on both sides. Something like that. We'll move it around where it needs to be. And then this one's going to go right next to it, like so. And then we're going to have this one up here, and this one up here. And these two will go down here. Now you can flip these over and use the other side if you want to, if you want some variation. I don't know if I want to introduce another color, another pattern like that, unless I want to make those the same. But I think I like the blue because it pulls the blue out of the layout at the bottom. So like that. Okay. This particular example layout that they've done for us, they've used a 12-inch sticker and they've cut it in half and they've added it just on top of our 1/2-inch strip right here. I'm not sure if I have any of those. Let me check. So I do have this 12-inch sticker that actually was part of the spring medley. But see, the color is not the same, so I don't think I want to use that because it will not complement the colors of the spring cottage. But if you have spring medley and you're using it, you could certainly use this leaf, or you could use the birds like they've used them here on the sample. And you can add to that area. Now, since I don't have that, what I could do is just try and use an embellishment. So let's see what I have in my embellishments over here that we could use. So I do have some flowers right here, which could go right on top of there. Although they kind of blend into the floral that's behind it, so maybe that's not as great of an idea. Although we could set them kind of behind the border right there. That actually I think looks nice. And then we could do another grouping of embellishments over on this side. maybe add that larger one just so that it kind of matches those two. Let's see, what kind of mats do I have? So this one would be a great one for journaling, and it would actually match really nicely because it's the same yellow that we've used for the mats on the rest of the page, which would be lovely. Or we could take this smaller mat and put it right in there, or what we could do is flip this over to the floral side, which will pick up the floral down here, and put the Just Be You on top of that, which is kind of cool. I like that a lot, actually. And then we can use some of our other bees to embellish if we feel like we still need to embellish some more. Or we can save these for another layout, which I'm inclined to do because I think this is enough with these. Okay, so I'm going to pop these up, pop the flowers up. The floral over here, I'm going to just go ahead and adhere where it belongs. And these, I'm going to just go ahead and adhere temporarily, like I tend to do, just in case I want to alter the location of the mat. Or I do sometimes sell these completed layouts. So if you're ever interested in purchasing a layout from me that I've completed, just drop me a note in the comments and I can let you know what that would sell for. They're each different, as I'm sure you can understand, depending on how many supplies are needed to complete each one. But I try to be as consistent as possible, depending on how many papers are involved. And I would be happy to share and sell my completed layouts, and then that way it's a faster project for you. So anyway, just an idea. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere these flowers out here, and I'm going to grab my foam squares and pop this up off the page. And by the way, that goes for any of the layouts that I put together. If you are interested in them, just let me know. Of course, you can't have the ones that I do for Hawaii or or Disney, because those have my pictures on them. But I'm sure you figured that out already. All right, so there's that page. And then we're going to do this page in a similar fashion. Just make sure your borders that are around your mats are the same. So that everything looks symmetrical. You'll be happier with it too if you do it that way. Okay, the edges of this smaller picture line up with the photo above it. I don't know if you're noticing that, so I'm just pointing it out to you. And the top of this mat lines up with the top of this mat, so that's the same. Okay. Here we go. This one is just about done. Got that embellishment on there. And the other embellishments on there. I believe we are done. Such a pretty spring collection. Hopefully you have that in your stash and you can use it. If not, then go ahead and use another one. It's a nice layout. It's pretty quick, it's easy, and it has the potential for 8 pictures on it, which is really, really great if you are a picture taker like I am. I have a hard time, I really have a hard time with pages or layouts that only have one photograph, unless I only have one photograph of an event, which is very, very rare. But that's me, it may not be you. So if you need a layout for lots of pictures, this is a great one to go to. If you are more of a minimalist and you only take 1 or 2 of each event, then you could certainly arrange this so that it's just a 1-page layout. And then that way you would have plenty of room for those photos. Thanks so much for joining me. I am so grateful that you were able to take the time, and I hope that you've subscribed to my channel. If you haven't, please do. And if you know of any other paper scrappers that you think could benefit from the ideas and inspiration that I'm offering, I hope you'll share my channel with them as well. Thanks so much. Until next time, I hope you have more creative moments. Take care.